Hello, Kathy.
Hello, sir. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the White House Office of Presidential Personnel, I am delighted to welcome you to the swearing in of the Day One appointees of the Biden-Harris administration. We are joined by hundreds of White House staff and hundreds more agency appointees. All of us here have the great privilege of serving our country and of joining you, Mr. President, in restoring our nation. I was privileged to hear many of your stories during the hiring process. Some of you have worked in government before and thought perhaps your days of service were behind you until finding yourselves in this moment of national need. Others have never worked in government and will bring new perspectives to the work that lies ahead. Some of you are the first in your family to graduate college. You are veterans who have worn our nation's uniform. You are the daughters and sons of immigrants, or you're immigrants yourselves. Some of you have interviewed for your job while you were wrapping up work on the presidential campaign, and others interviewed while you were fighting off COVID or caring for family members who were ill. But all of you share in the hope we have for the Biden-Harris administration, and each of you has answered the call to serve. Having worked in government, I know that no public servant does this work alone. So I would like to welcome and acknowledge the friends and family of all our appointees who will support the work ahead. And now it is my honor and privilege to introduce a true public servant for whom I was so lucky to first work for more than 3 decades ago, who will administer the oath of office, the President of the United States. Mr. President.
Thank you, Kathy. Hello, team. And I mean that sincerely. We're one team. Jill and I and Kamala and Doug are enormously humbled by today's inauguration. And it makes me realize what an obligation we have, what a tremendous opportunity we have. I'm looking at all your photographs, and I'm supposed to be looking straight ahead, but I want to take a look at you while I'm talking to you. I really mean it. We have an obligation, but we also have a great privilege. Very few times does an individual get an opportunity to do something that can fundamentally, positively impact on other people's lives, not only here but around the world. You're engaged in and you're working with the most decent government in the world. And we have to restore the soul of this country, and I'm counting on all of you to be part of that. And it's not hyperbole. The only thing I expect with absolute certitude is honesty and decency, the way you treat one another, the way you treat the people you deal with. And I mean that sincerely. Remember, people don't work for us. We work for the people. I work for the people. They pay my salary. They pay your salary. They put their faith in you. I put my faith in you. And so we have an obligation. We ran on a promise that this administration would look like America looks. That taps into the best of our nation, that opens doors and includes the full range of talents we have in all our people. And that meant asking you and your families to serve. We're honored that you accepted the call. And I'm not being solicitous when I say this. We owe your families. We owe your families. Because those of you working in the White House, those who will be here, those of you working in other agencies, you're going to work like the devil. We all do. We put in long hours. And it shouldn't be something that you should do unless you really care about it a great deal. You know, there have been few moments in our history, in my view, when our nation has been more tested than we are now. Few when public service will matter more, when it will matter more. And history going to measure us, and our fellow Americans will measure us by how decent, honorable, and smart we've been in terms of looking out for their interest. You know, to contain a pandemic, to administer a vaccine, it's going to be the most consequential logistical thing that's ever been done in the United States. It's going to take a lot, an awful lot. We're going to rescue an economy. But we have so many opportunities to build it back and build it back so much better. I've said from the beginning that when the American people given half a chance, they have never, ever, 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 ever let their country down. And that's not hyperbole. You know, some thought in my party, and some thought in the country, and some thought in the press. when I said I was running for 3 reasons. I said I was running to restore the soul of America. By that I mean just common decency, honor, your word, doing what you say you're going to do, treating people with respect. My dad used to have an expression. He said, everyone, every single person, regardless of their background, is entitled to be treated with dignity. I expect you to do that for all the folks you deal with, all the folks we work for, the American people. And you're going to try to keep us safe and secure from the threats and the unseen, to root out systemic racism. We've reached a point, in my view, where the American people have had the blinders have been taken off. They've been taken off and realized, they didn't realize before, just how much systemic racism still exists, because they didn't live in circumstances where they were with large minority populations, whatever the background was. And all of a sudden, they see what happened to George Floyd, with his nose being pushed up against the curb, suffocated to death and murdered. And they said, my God, that really happens. This piece of technology has changed. The young man had the courage to stand there for 8 minutes and 44 seconds and take that picture. And the whole world responded. The whole world responded. We have a chance. We have a chance to change things. For the reason I got involved in politics when I was a kid at 26 years old, running for local office to try to change redlining. I really mean it. So you shouldn't be doing this unless you feel it. I always say a simple proposition. I trust people more who the idea and the concern starts in their gut, goes to their heart, and is able to articulate it by a good brain, rather than the person who thinks of it intellectually but never feels it. The people you can count on are the ones that starts from the gut, works their way to the heart, and have the intellectual capacity to do what needs to be done. And so, folks, we have a lot going on. We have a lot of opportunities. We can meet this existential threat of climate change. I really believe it. Again, the world has figured out, the United States has figured out, whoa, it makes a gigantic difference. Makes a gigantic difference, these unseen threats, air you can't breathe, living on fence-line communities and the like. So much more we can do. We have such an awful lot to do, but I know you. I know your heart, your dedication, your commitment to this nation. And I know you can do it, and we're going to do it by leading with one core American value: humility and trust, collegiality, diversity, competency, and family. And I want to thank your families for the sacrifices. But I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency and dignity. That's been missing in a big way the last 4 years. Kathy's gone through all your backgrounds, talked to me about you. I'm confident you have the capacity to do it. We're going to be judged. We're going to be judged whether or not we restored the integrity and the competency of this government. I need your help badly. Last thing I'll say, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. When I make them, I'll acknowledge them, and I'll tell you. And I'll need your help to help me correct them. We're not going to walk away. We're going to take responsibility. That's what we do. That's what you do. That's what so many of you have done throughout your career, and I expect you to do it again. So I'm happy we're starting, happy to join all of you. There's almost 1,000 of you on this call, and your families. So thank you very much. That in this nation, everyone, and I mean everyone, is given an opportunity. And those, that's who we are as a country. And that's who we've always been thought to be. I was asked a long time ago when I was with Xi Jinping, and I was on the Tibetan Plateau with him. And he asked me in a private dinner, he and I, and we each had an interpreter. He said, can you define America for me? And I said, yes, and I meant it. I said, I can do it in one word, possibilities. Possibilities. We believe anything's possible if we set our mind to it. Unlike any other country in the world. Possibilities. You're my possibilities. You're the way we're going to get this done. I'm honored to now administer the oath of office to each of you. And if you will, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Thank you. Welcome. As my mom would say, God love you all. We got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. Thank you for being willing to join. Bye-bye.